Namo Amida Boots. Namo Amida Boots. Namo Amida Boots. Namanda Boots. Namanda Boots. Namanda Boots. Namanda Boots. Namanda Boots. Gasho. Namo Amida Boots. Namo Amida Boots. Namo Amida Boots. Namanda Boots. Namanda Boots. Namanda Boots. Namanda Boots. Namanda Boots. Namanda Boots. Hello, and welcome to the 2022 Tri-State Denver Buddhist Temple Hoonko service. Hoonko is a service where we memorialize our founder, Shinran Shonin, who you can see on the scroll here behind me, and is the most important day in the Jodo Shinshu calendar. We're so glad that you're here to hear the Buddha Dharma with us and to celebrate the great teaching that Shinran Shonin brought forward for us, here even in the United States. Before we start the service, we here as ministerial staff at the temple would like to thank many people who have helped keep the temple's lights on and helped spread the Buddha Dharma over the last year. We'd like to thank the TSDBT Board of Directors, the Buddhist Women's Association, Tri-State Denver Buddhist Temple membership across the board, every single temple. So Brighton, Fort Lupton, Longmont, Greeley, La Jolla Alamosa, and Sedgwick. Thank you all so very much for once again supporting Tri-State Denver Buddhist Temple. We'd also like to thank Sakura Square and Sakura Foundation for their continued support, once again here for Tri-State Denver Buddhist Temple and sharing a block with us. Service order for this very special Hoonko service will be Shoshinge Gyofu. You can find Shoshinge Gyofu on page 2 in the Blue Denver Service Book. We'll be chanting this in the Gyofu style. We'll then have a reading of the Godensho. The Godensho, or the Biography of Shinran Shonin, will also feature the Godensho scroll here to my right. And finally, we'll have a special guest speaker, Reverend Hibiki Murakami from the LA Hompo Honganji Betsuin Temple. We're very excited to hear from him all about the teachings of Shinran Shonin and the true meaning of Hoonko. So thank you very much for joining us here once again at the Tri-State Denver Buddhist Temple's YouTube channel. And if you don't have a copy of the Blue Denver Service Book, well, don't worry. If you look in the description down below, you'll find a PDF copy in a Google Drive. Please feel free to download it and use it for this service or any others. And please do everything you can to keep each other safe. Once again, COVID is still out there, and we know it's a rough time. So please wear your mask, get vaccinated, and do the small amounts of compassion that we as human beings are capable of. And once again, I want to give my deepest thanks and gratitude to everyone who watches this YouTube channel and shares the Buddha Dharma, the Namo Amida Butsu, with me. I am always deeply, deeply moved. And here on Hoonko, I'm so, so grateful for all of you. So please join your hands together in Gasho, and remember, you can say Namo Amida Butsu anywhere you are. Kimyo muyo junyo dai namo fuka shigi ko hozo bosatsu iniji zai se jizai onbusho token shobutsu jodoin kokudo ninden shizen mak konru mujo shushogan chohotsu keiun daiguze koko shiui shishoju juse myosho monjippo
不法無用無変更無下無体公園の少女歓喜知恵子不断な事務所公超日学校精進説一切群上無故障本願名号少女語死死信行願に浄土逆書大涅槃非死滅度願成就如来勝意公衆性唯説弥陀本願会五辱悪事群上会お信如来如実言納発一年喜愛心不断本の特涅槃本上逆法再永入入手死入開一年摂取信仰上昇後いな水波無明は頓内心臓死運無上不真実真人天いの二個不運無運無死下妙無案逆心謙虚大狂気そこ超絶合悪臭一切善幕本部人門心如来偶然願仏言古代小下者善人妙分大理家弥陀仏本願念仏邪見教満なく修上信行十字人に難中死難昔インド祭天四論下中華自治引きしこそ現代諸公聖書意妙如来本税置き釈迦如来ヨガ戦一種五妙南天竺如如大事出頭世質如在派有無権先絶大乗無情法召喚議事小安楽賢治難行六六信行異行指導楽億年弥陀仏本願次年即時入筆上有の上昇如来語お法大悲偶然音天神菩薩増論説奇妙無下教如来永寿ただ見真実光線王朝大誓願こういう本願力栄光お色群上小一心記入功徳大崩壊筆逆入大平修習特使伝下造世界即称信用法精進有本の輪現人図入所自用自音芸本心論乱両天使上皇乱書菩薩来三蔵ルシ十条教傍聴宣教気楽法天神菩薩論中下報道因果見世願おげねこゆたり 少女詩品唯新人枠前本部新人ポツ生じ即涅槃非死無用光明道小修上下不形土砂結晶動乱症唯名浄土活入万全自力変言集円満特語完成書三不三地軽音語増末放滅道品一生増悪地偶税死安如愛称名化禅の読名仏性幸福安上三よ逆悪公明語権因年会日本願大地会行者小樹今後心教育一年総合よい大と約三人即小法小至上楽原神公開一大経返帰安養かにさい先祖死心安先人法家二道小弁流極自悪人唯小仏が薬剤費摂取治癒煩悩証言水福権大悲無権上世 本知言空妙仏偈譜蓮民全幕凡部人心主継承公変し戦弱本願具白性現来生じ因伝下下知義上小子即入邪白情報無意楽一心人いのに有教大事主子と上祭無変極上枠同族実施具道心有意過心し高創説南無阿弥陀仏南無阿弥陀仏南無阿弥陀仏南無阿弥陀仏南無阿弥陀仏南無阿弥陀仏南無阿上仏のこの方は今に自己を得たまえり方針の交輪極もなく聖の妙妙を照らすなり南無阿弥陀仏南無阿 Amida Buddha. Namo Amida Buddha. Namo Amida Buddha. Nam Chie no Kofu Myofu Hakari na shi Fuyofu no shosou Koto go toku Kofu keiyu kamura anu Mono wa nashi Shinjitsu myou ni Kimyo seyo Namo Amida Buddha. 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 Nam Gedatsu no Kofurin Kiwa mo nashi Kosoku kamuru mono wa mina ufumu wo hanaru to nobeta mo byofu dofu kaku ni Kimyo seyo Namo Amida Buddha. Namo Amida Buddha. Namo Amida Buddha. Namo Amida Buddha. Na Kohun Munge Nyokoku Isai no uge ni sawari nashi Koutaku kamuranu monozonaki Nanji o kimyo seyo Namo Amida Buddha. Namo Namo Amida Buddha. 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 Nam Shou Jou Ko Myo Nara Binashi Gushi Ko no Yue Nareba Isai no Kokemo Nozoko Hinu Hikyo e o Kimyo Seyo. Namo Amida Buddha. Namo Amida Buddha. Namo Amida Buddha. Namo Amida Buddha. Na Buddha Seiyu Eiyu Sai Dai Chi Kohuen no Buto Nazuketari Senzu no Kokuan Hiraku Nari Daio Fugu o Kimyo Seyo. Gani Shikudo Ku Byahu no Husei Isai Dohu Hotsubo Daishin Ojo An Ra Ko.
Gasho. Namo Amida Buddha. Namo Amida Buddha. Namo Amida Buddha. Namanda Buddha, Namanda Buddha, Namanda Buddha, Namanda Buddha, Namanda Buddha. Please join in and listen into the Godensho, the biography of Shinran Shonin. While I'm reading the Godensho, Shinran Shonin's biography, we'll also be taking a look at the Godensho scroll, the pictorial depiction of aspects of Shinran Shonin's life. Please listen with reverence. Shinran Shonin was born on May 21st in the year 1173. At the age of 4, his father died, and at the age of 8, his beloved mother also left this world. When he was 9 years old, he was taken by his uncle to Shorin Temple, where he was tantraed by the Venerable Jinen. At the age of 19, after 10 years of intense study and difficult practices, Shinran made a pilgrimage to the Shinga Mausoleum of Prince Shotoku, and while there, he had a dream vision that the prince came to him and told him that in his current life would only last for another 10 years. Nearing the end of that 10-year period, Shinran confined himself at Rokakudu Temple, a site for the worship of the Bodhisattva Kannon, for 100 days. He received another dream vision in which Kannon, the Bodhisattva of compassion, told him that if he could not perform the rigid practices of the monastics, he should seek a new path. It was after this that Shinran sought out Honen Shonin. Shinran journeyed to Yoshimizu and visited Honen every day for 100 days. Honen taught him that the Nembutsu alone was the cause for release from suffering of birth and death. Shinran became a disciple of Honen's and at the age of 33 was given the great honor of being allowed to copy Honen's great work, Senjaku Hongan Nembutsu Shu. When he was 35, Nembutsu practice was banned, and Shinran was exiled to Echigo. Honen was exiled to Tosa. It would be the last time that teacher and student would meet again in this life. At 38, he married a Shini, whose letters have been a marvelous window into the life of Shinran. At 39, Shinran was pardoned, and 3 years later, he moved to Hatachi in the Kanto area, where he continued to propagate the Nembutsu teaching. At the age of 52, his youngest daughter, Kakushini, was born, and this was also the year that he wrote his magnum opus, the Kyogo Shinsho. At the age of 90, about the end of winter, he began to fall ill. From that time on, he never talked about worldly matters. He expressed his deep appreciation of the Buddha's benevolence by ceaselessly reciting the Nembutsu. He never spoke of anything else. He only recited the Nembutsu. On the 8th day of the same month and year, he laid on his side with his head facing north and his body facing west, and breathed his last while reciting Nembutsu. His daughter Kakushini was in attendance at his death and was concerned that there had been no miraculous sights at the moment of his death, and therefore he had not gone to the Pure Land. Her mother wrote her, assuring her that there is no doubt your father was born in the Pure Land, and there is no need for me to repeat this. Namo Amida Boots. Namo Amida Boots. Namo Amida Boots. Namanda Boots, Namanda Boots, Namanda Boots, Namanda Boots, Namanda Boots. We'll now have our Honko Dharma talk, and we're joined this time by a guest speaker, Reverend Hibiki Junko Murakami. Reverend Hibiki Junko Murakami was born and raised as the eldest son of Jonnenji Temple in Kitakyushu, Fukuoka, Japan. He received a bachelor's and a master's degree in letters of Shin Buddhism at Ryokoku University in Kyoto in 2016 and 2018. Reverend Murakami received Tokudo ordination in 2013 and Kyoshi certification in 2015. His Buddhist name is Shaku Junkyo. He completed the orientation program for the Japanese ministers at Jodo Shinshu Center in Berkeley, California, known as IMOP, International Ministerial Orientation Program, in 2018. Upon completion of 3 months of IMOP in January of 2020, he was assigned to the LA Hompo Honganji Buddhist Temple. His hobby is car maintenance, and I heard he's also a fan of minis. So both myself and Reverend Thompson are both mini drivers, so we're very excited to hear from Reverend Murakami. And please, everyone, welcome him and listen deeply to his important message on Shinran Shonin and Hoonko. Thank you very much, Reverend Murakami.
Hello, my name is Hibiki Murakami. I'm going to deliver my Dharma message. If you can, please join together in Gasho. I reflect within myself. The universal vow, difficult to fathom, is indeed a great vessel, bearing us across the ocean, difficult to cross. The unhindered light is the sun of wisdom, dispelling the darkness of our ignorance. Namo Amida Buddha, 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 Namo Amida Buddha. Greetings, nice to meet you. My name is Reverend Hibiki Junkyo Murakami. I am the resident minister of Los Angeles Honpa Hongan-ji Buddhist Temple. I, and Imada Sensei were the same year candidate minister back in 2018 as IMOP. That is the education program for the Japanese ministers who want to become a kaikyoshi. And more, prior to that training program, we had another intensive training session at the headquarters of Honganji in Kyoto. We stayed in the complex building used for the office of the Honganji's International Department for that training, which lasted for almost 2 weeks. Imada Sensei and I stayed in the same room. So our relationship is a sort of roommates since then, like a student's dormitory. Now we are apart each other and individually serving our own temples and each community where the temple belongs to. Thanking for your continuous support to your temple, I'm given to be honored, invited as a guest speaker at one of the most important special services for the浄土真宗followers. This is the Hoonko-Hoyo, hosted by Tri-State Denver Buddhist Temple. I would like to share my Dharma message following the infinite light of wisdom and compassion illuminated by Amida Buddha. First of all, how many of you have you joined the Nishi Honganji's Hoonko? Actually, this Saturday is the last day of their Hoonko period for commemorating Master Shinran. Of course, the Japan Standard Time is ahead, 17 hours to the Pacific Standard where I am. In their time zone, our Saturday is Sunday on January 16th in Japan. This day is known as the day when Master Shinran passed away and departed to the utmost bliss world, the Jodo, almost 760 years ago. For the Jodo Shinshu people, this day is regarded as expressing our gratitude to his great work, which is to inherit the true teaching manifested by Shakyamuni Buddha for all beings, guiding them to the real awakened world in which the sentient beings get to realize the true nature and to receive the permanent joy of the awakened existence. We call that place the Pure Land. That land is totally based on Amida Buddha's wisdom and compassion. From there, the guidance to emancipating us out of possession of causality making defilement is taught by being mindful of the name Namo Amida Buddha. In Jodo Shinshu, we don't practice it for our benefit. the benefit is already accomplished and completed on Amida Buddha. Through my body and your body, the Nembutsu becomes active with cultivating the cause towards the Pure Land, like planting seeds on a field. So for us, since already Amida Buddha fulfilled that practice, we recite the name as demonstrating feeling of gratitude about the Buddha's benevolence. Back to the Hoonko. Literally, it means the gathering to return in gratitude the Buddha's benevolence, so that when we commemorate Master Shinran's virtue, reciting the name is our true action for what he has left for us. At the Nishi Honganji, in the period during Hoonko, the main halls where the Amida Buddha's statue and the Shinran's door are enshrined is filled with that recitation from each person thinking to the Buddha and enjoy it with being embraced by the light of wisdom and compassion. By the way, do you know how many days the Kyoto Honganji runs Hoonko-Hoyo? For example, our LA Honganji's Hoonko is observed presently for 2 days. Listing up another example, my temple, where I grew up in Fukuoka Prefecture, is also running the Hoonko for 2 days to conduct 3 services. Moreover, my grandfather's temple, located in Tottori Prefecture, they are having 3 days for the 5 services for commemorating Master Shinran. Here is the thing, how about the traditional Hoonko-Hoyo with the Nishi Honganji? Or could be said, how many services do they spare the time for the Hoonko? Their answer is exactly 1 week. They set a schedule for this special service, even if they couldn't welcome full visitors, letting them observe in the main hall because of the virus. Totally, there are 14 services being conducted with each ritual for different one is performed. Today, alternatively, they broadcasted it on the internet. Here is another question. Who started Hoonko? Who composed these complex programs that duration is 1 week? I will explain it later. Of course, we know that Master Shinran didn't request such big ceremony needed with tremendous effort on his disciples for himself before leaving this world. Here is known as a story relating to his funeral, that when Shinran realized his last moment was getting close, and he was about to entering the Pure Land, he instructed his followers how to treat his left body. Then he asked, after my life at this world ended, please dump my body into a neighbor river for fishes' nutrition. Needless to say, it didn't actually happen to throw away their master's body into a river for feeding fishes. Instead, they cremated the body and constructed a mausoleum nearby Kiyomizu Temple in Kyoto. Today, that mausoleum is known as Otani Honbyo. Otani is our Gomonshu's family name. Gomonshu is the head minister of the Honganji and the representative of our school as a spiritual leader. They preserve Shinran's blood lineage and serve the浄土真宗tradition, protecting it for the future generation. But there is another reason why Otani family is very important besides their blood. After the mausoleum constructed, it needed somebody who can take care of that. At that time, the most of Shinran's disciples were in Kanto region, where nearby today's the Japanese capital, Tokyo, locates. They delegated the Otani family in charge of the key of that grave. Since then, they have been protecting that mausoleum. Currently, its territory way expanded from a single grave to the magnificent temple being called the Nishihonganji. The history of the Honganji was not always good time for them, though, such as conflict and political challenges over the centuries, but they have gradually thrived. At the 33rd memorial service for Shinran, the third Monshu Kakunyo wrote a book, Hoonko-Shiki, the protocol of the Hoonko ritual. Based on his instructions, nowadays Hoonko ritual has been added more programs by later Monshu Rennyo. Over 700 years, this annual ceremony has been conducted. That is not because of the Otani family's private memorial service for their great ancestor. In Kakunyo's Hoonko-Shiki, he mentioned 3 points to praise on Shinran. First, to praise the origin of the Jodo Shinshu teaching. That is, we know that Shinran was aware of the deep condition that makes him hard to be apart from the depth to chain him to be full. Then he chose the Pure way after encountering his master Honen, instead of practicing the sage way as a monk. Secondly, to praise his resonated action in accord with the Amida Buddha's primal vow. As I mentioned, the practice for cultivating the causality was already achieved on Amida Buddha. Despite that, there are quite few people who devoted themselves to the fulfilled name sincerely. He, Shinran, was truly aware of his blind nature, not being able to see the truth. He entrusted himself to the primal vow, in which Amida Buddha actively worked with the name and partakes in the great vessel bearing everyone across the ocean difficult to cross. Then thirdly, we praise and follow his footprint, reading the sutras, which Shinran collected to reveal the true way of life leading to the land of peace where any suffering ceased. In front of the great spiritual leader, we cannot help to bow and worship his figure for the great merit that is called the other power, empowering us to break the root of passion and to penetrate there with the rich wisdom, turning it into the part of compassionate ocean of Amida Buddha. That is why, in terms of Hoonko-Hoyo, for the Jodo Shinshu followers, it is a stem to make each mind be more mindful on life, reflecting upon the interconnection being sustained on life by innumerous relationships that formed us. I would say this mindful mind is Tariki, the other power. The other power is totally not to happen or to be made by us, but it comes from somewhere else, specifically on the cosmos of the primal vow. The other power is Amida Buddha. Amida penetrates our mind to realize the true mind that is the causality of the Pure Land, whether to be realized or not to be. There is no impact with our mundane life. However, being mindful makes a man to be a true human being who knows the Buddha Dharma and live with it. Shinran said, "The compassionate light of the Buddha, of unhindered light, always illuminates and protects the person who has realized Shinjin. Hence, the darkness of ignorance has already cleared, and the long night of birth and death is already dispelled and become dawn. Let this be known. It is known that we do not change into good nor bad. The person who, being mindful, stands the border of the horizon between birth and death. Yet, they never fall into either." Thank you very much for listening to my message and being with me. I would like to conclude my message with quoting his sentence from Kyogyo Shinsho. Please join together in Gasho. "I reflect within myself. The universal vow, difficult to fathom, is indeed a great vessel, bearing us across the ocean difficult to cross. The unhindered light is the sun of wisdom, dispelling the darkness of our ignorance. Namo Amida Buddha, Namo Amida Buddha, Namo Amida Buddha, Namanda Buddha, Namanda Buddha, Namanda Buddha, Namanda Buddha, Namanda Buddha.